So this is my Epiphone Signature DG-335. I did a video solely about this guitar. I'll link it down below if you want to check that out. But if you have recently acquired an Epiphone like myself, or really any guitar that you think you might be able to do something to it out of the box just to improve the playability, but you don't know what exactly, that's what I'm going to show you on this guitar specifically, which is the case with most Epiphones that I find. The frets are kind of scratchy, sort of like when you're doing a little vibrato, you just hear kind of a, and it's not very pleasing to me. These are also Indian Laurel fretboards, which are kind of dry-ish and just sort of light in color. So we're going to try to condition that a little bit and see if that helps. So this guitar specifically is one of Epiphone's higher end models, so the playability is fine. There's no issues with the neck or really the nut or the bridge or anything like that. If you are experiencing high action or just really bad playability, there's going to be some other videos on how to remedy that better with deeper setup techniques. But for this one, I mainly just want to condition the fretboard and polish the frets to help get rid of that scratchiness. So you want to start by taking your handy dandy string winder and taking off the strings. The next thing I do is take some clippers and clip the strings right in the middle so that you can just wind them up, throw them away, recycle them, whatever you want to do, but also you won't have those coils on the end of the strings, making it easier to get out of here. This Pro winder has clippers already on it, so that makes that convenient. We got the strings off. We're going to start by polishing the frets. I like to do that first so that any of the leftover sort of residue from polishing the frets gets wiped off when we condition the fretboard and wipe all that stuff off. There's a couple of ways to do this. The easiest way is you get some quadruple-aught steel wool. Quadruple-aught or finer. You don't really want to go any more gritty than that. And if you do it that way, you want to tape over your pickups, and you could probably honestly put something over the sound holes too if you have a hollow body guitar like this. Pickups are magnetic. They're going to magnetize to all those little trimmings that come off of the steel wool if you polish your frets that way. Super easy to do though. All you have to do is take some masking tape, tape off your pickups, tape off the wood on the actual fretboard if you want to. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I like to do it. And you just take a little quad-aught steel wool and polish the frets until they're shiny, and then you're good. And you clean up the mess. How I like to do it is with some Music Nomad Frine fret polishing kit. You'll notice through the course of this video, I'm a big fan of Music Nomad stuff. You don't have to use it. There's other great products out there, but in this kit comes some fret guards. There's 3 of these. You just pick whichever size works best for the frets, and some actual fret polishing compound. All right, so I've got my microfiber cloth that I'm going to use. I picked out the largest of the 3 fret guards. It's got a little bit of wiggle room, but it makes me feel like I can kind of get around the edges of the fret wire. Let's start on this side so you guys can see the best. I usually go the other way, but it doesn't matter. So you just put a little dot of the polishing compound on the fret, and then you go to town. So you can see it's going to come off like that. That's just basically the oxidization coming off on your microfiber cloth. And then I like to just wipe off the excess compound so that it doesn't get dried up on your fretboard. It's done that a couple of times on me, which it's not a big deal. I just don't like it because I like it to be clean. So you can go over it again, but you can already tell the difference. I'll try to get a close-up shot here. You can already tell a huge difference between that and the next fret over. It's much more shiny, much more smooth, and that is exactly what's gonna get rid of that scratchy sound while we're playing. So I've only given this single last fret a once over, and you can tell the difference in those two. So here's a dope close-up shot I just found of what I'm doing. This is pretty nice, a little setup right here. We're gonna move on to the next fret over. I might do these again depending on what they look like after the first go around, but you can see some of that compound gets onto the fretboard itself, but that's fine. We'll wipe it up. Look at that, bro. Look at that. So as you can see already, these are the 3 frets that we've already done on this Epiphone. Now I haven't even restrung this guitar or really played it that much at all since I've gotten it. I'm talking like an hour or 2 of playtime max. This is from other fret polish jobs I've done on guitars that I do this regularly to. So this is like how much, you know, stuff you're pulling off on a regular fret polish. This is straight from the factory from Epiphone, which is pretty crazy. There's a lot of oxidization on there. I don't know what it's from, if it's just maybe they don't do this in quality control, so you're just kind of working with like raw, you know, nickel or whatever it is they put on there, or if it's, you know, how long they sit from production till they get sold in the case, or whatever it may be. Doesn't really matter. It's just gonna help us out a lot by cleaning all this up. Even running your finger across it though, give this a shot. If you're doing this, run your finger across the fret you've already polished and then go to one you haven't, and it's crazy. See if you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but let's keep going. It's like wiping your guitar's butt. Also, if you're curious how long this stuff lasts, I've probably done somewhere around 10 fret polishes so far, and I don't really think I've made too much of a dent on this tube, so it may not last you as long as the F1 oil has. I've literally had this bottle for like 5 years or more, and I oil my fretboards quite a bit, but it'll definitely last you more than just a couple. Okay, so we're done with the fret polish. They're all pretty nice and shiny. This is the general area of the towel we were working with, so they're a lot better now. Next time I restring this, I'll do it again and see if it gets any better, but right now I just want to see what it feels like with a once over once we get the strings back on. But the next step is we're going to take some of the Music Nomad F-1 oil, which this stuff is great, but you can also use any other fretboard conditioner that is made by a guitar brand of your liking. But I've got a couple of paper towels. Paper towels is what I like to use. You don't have to use a microfiber cloth for this step, in my opinion. The way that I like to do it, some people will apply it directly to the cloth, and that's perfectly fine if you're just doing a little bit of a touch-up. But if the fretboard is fresh from the factory and it's pretty dry, or you want to darken it up a bit, don't want to use too much of this stuff, but you're just gonna kind of do that. Leave a little bit of a drop on every fret. I got quite a bit more down here, and then I like to just spread it around. Now, people will tell you that too much fretboard conditioning will overhydrate your fretboard, cause it to expand and push the frets out so that they're no longer properly seated. That has not happened to me yet, and I've done this a lot. The fretboard oil, the oil naturally pushes out what it doesn't need, so you'll actually notice that once you get all the excess off and you're done. If you let it sit for a few minutes, there will actually still be oil seeping out. That's just kind of the excess getting pushed back out of the wood. I guess I'm no expert, but this is my experience. You let it sit for a little bit. You can wipe off the total excess, you know, what's just really on top, and then we'll let it sit for just a second. Okay, so it sat for a minute or two, so now we're just going to take the paper towel and go in like this. Look at that, man. Ooh, it's dirty. And like I said, I haven't played this really at all since I got it. This is just cleaning off all of what just kind of dirt stays on it from the factory, man. It's like picking your garden and cleaning the vegetables, you know. I might make another little pass by oiling the towel this time. This is the way I would do this if you know, like maybe 6 months from now or whatever, and it hasn't dried out that much or anything. I would just oil the towel and then go over it like this. Now, as I mentioned, this is Indian Laurel, which is a more affordable, I guess, easier to access and import version of rosewood. I've even seen Gibson fretboards that are actual rosewood, and great quality guitars, great fretboards, but they just come in really dry. Even if they're a dark strain, they're still really dry and they need some oiling. So even if you got a higher end guitar, maybe just give this a shot and see if you notice a big difference with the oil versus before. And if you do, your guitar is thanking you. I like to get kind of with my fingernail in between, with the paper towel in between, and close to the frets, so you kind of get in that crease. Yeah, look at that, man. One other pro tip for helping your guitar stay in tune, especially a Gibson style guitar and especially an Epiphone, is to take a mechanical pencil and actually just color in the spots where the strings would be making contact on both your saddles and your nut. The nut is where most people actually suggest, but the saddles is not a bad idea either. Next up in the line of Music Nomad products that I like is the One Spray. I call this a spit bath for your guitar. Basically just gets all the fingerprints off of it and the dust and whatnot. There's plenty of products like this. Dunlop makes one, D'Addario makes it, all that kind of stuff. But you can use a microfiber cloth for this. I got another one right here that's not all, got all the fret polish stuff on it. And you can just shake this up, spray it directly onto your guitar if you want, or you can spray it on a towel and get some of these fingerprints and whatnot off of it. I always like to clean off this area, especially on restrings, because it's impossible to get here if the strings are on. And just kind of getting some of the paper towel residue off of here from doing the fretboard. It is time to throw strings back on this bad boy. I'm gonna try out the balance tension D'Addario set. I usually use these D'Addario strings, but I've never tried the balance tension set. As far as I know, the only difference is the B string is a little bit heavier, and then the A and the D are a little bit lighter. So they say it just gives you a more it's a balanced tension, I guess. So let's give this a shot. And they bolted this thing down, didn't they? How about that? I wonder if that's how Dave likes that. Dave Grohl. If you're not totally familiar with restringing 6-a-side headstocks like this, easiest way to do it consistent every time is to pull the string tight, measure about 2 tuning pegs past the one you're already on, pull back that much slack, hold it there like this, start winding on pretty much every string except for the low E, just because it's so thick. I like to go over the top with this side I'm holding first, and then after that clears, push it all the way down and go from the bottom now, so that you're sandwiching that tag in on the other side. And what you can actually do is, before you start winding, when you measure the string, you can clip it there at that stage as well, and then pull it back to where it's just barely sticking through. And that way you're not dealing with this tag end, basically, because this can scratch up your headstock as you're putting the strings on. So that's up to you. Oh my goodness, did I accidentally tune that to an open chord? Whoa, okay. That is skill. I'm sorry. I think I have reached ultimate musician status. Holy moly. Oh my god. Did you hear that? I just left those at the same... Okay. It's not quite really a chord anymore. Now it is. Whoa, dude. Let's go. Alright guys, so we are done with that whole process. I will be honest with you, it's not perfect. I probably could have gone over it with the polish again a second time. The scratchiness is still there just a tiny bit, but like I said, I'm going to be doing this to it for the next couple restrings until it completely goes away. Hopefully it will, and it'll probably start to go away even more with just more playing time too. You can do this to any guitar that you got if you're noticing just kind of some dryness and some scratchiness to it. Whether it's an Epiphone or a Ernie Ball Music Man, doesn't matter. Give this a shot, especially if you're not used to conditioning your fretboards. It makes a world of difference to me, unless I'm just a snob about it. But I love a good hydrated looking fretboard, which this one does look really good, unless you know exactly what to look for in the difference between rosewood and laurel. Color-wise, it's looking just like rosewood, especially from farther away. So it definitely darkened it up a little bit, made it look a little bit healthier. And obviously the nice and shiny polished frets on top of that look even better. So yeah, it's better than it was for sure. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, let me know. I'll leave I'll leave links to all the products that I use and everything in the description, and more info and all of that. So take a look down there if you want to buy any of that stuff. But yeah, if you have any questions, just let me know, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.